Good day, this is Dimitri Lascaris coming to you from Toronto, Canada for Reason to Resist on March 7th, 2026. In recent days, the U.S. corporate media has trotted out a retired war criminal from the Bush administration to articulate to the world and justify the true objective of the Trump-Netanyahu war of aggression on Iran. The name of that war criminal is Condoleezza Rice, former national security advisor to George W. Bush, who prosecuted the criminal war of aggression on another sovereign nation from West Asia, namely Iraq. Now, before I get into Condoleezza Rice's commentary and what it signifies, I wanted to share with you some footage from a protest that took place today in Toronto outside of the U.S. consulate. It was called for by persons who are opposed to the war of aggression on Iran. And upon learning of this protest, which I attended shortly after 2 p.m. this afternoon, a number of pro-Trump and pro-Netanyahu members of the Iranian diaspora here in Toronto decided to show up and engage in a counter-protest. And upon finding them at the site of the protest, I decided to explain to them, or inquire with them, I should say, the reasons for which they support Trump and Netanyahu, and this is what happened.
Okay, but just then keep this clear. You see that a lot of them are. We're just trying to let pedestrians have somewhere.
Okay, I'm just videotaping. I'll stay out of the way. Hey man, can I ask you a question?
Yes, for sure.
Aren't you bothered by the fact that Israel and Trump are bombing Iran? Doesn't that bother you?
We are happy about it. Fuck Khamenei, fuck all of the mullahs, and
You know that the Americans bombed a school and they killed 170 girls. Does that bother you?
No, but in a school, the regime's people was in a school. You know?
So the Americans have admitted. The Americans have
Yeah,
admitted.
that's my country. That's not your business, okay?
No, it is my business.
Now you can go.
170 dead girls. So I just want to know, it doesn't bother you.
I don't give a fuck about you. Okay?
He's dead.
Are you bothered by the fact that Netanyahu and Trump are bombing your country?
We love that.
You love
Trump.
You love Trump?
47 years and we are going to be.
You don't mind that he's bombing your country?
Go stay with,
I'm just asking you a
go
question.
stay with your friends.
You don't mind about the 170 schoolgirls who were killed? Doesn't bother
You hit it. You hit it. IRGC hit it. IRGC hit it.
Thank you, sir.
He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
Are you bothered by the fact that Israel and the U.S. are bombing your country?
No,
Doesn't bother
they
you?
are rescuing us. They are
What
rescuing
about the 170 girls,
Iran
schoolgirls?
killed them, Islamic Republic
Are
killed
they
them.
rescuing the 170 girls? Did they rescue them?
No, the Islamic Republic killed
Did they
them.
rescue 170 schoolgirls?
We're not dancing because
Did you know that Trump is a...
we're not
Well, you get the picture, folks. That was quite an entertaining and enlightening exchange, I thought. Just so you know, U.S. corporate media and the international press, outlets that are intensely hostile to the government of Iran, have reported that according to knowledgeable U.S. officials, a military investigation has come to the view, at least preliminarily, that it was the United States that actually bombed that school. So this is coming from officials within the U.S. government itself. And in fact, at a press conference conducted by U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who has gone full Satan, he effectively and unwittingly admitted that the U.S. carried out the strike when he showed a map of the areas that had been targeted by the United States in the period when this atrocity occurred, and the school was clearly within the areas he identified as having been bombed by U.S. forces. So these people live in some kind of an alternate reality. Frankly, I find it incomprehensible, to put it mildly, that anybody could be dancing and celebrating and lauding these unrepentant war criminals, Donald Trump and Netanyahu, at the very time that they are both carrying out a genocide in Gaza and committing atrocities all over Iran, the country of which they claim to be patriots and for which they claim to want a democracy. But that's probably my fourth or fifth interaction I've had with pro-Trump Iranians over the last several weeks. And on each and every occasion, they openly and enthusiastically proclaimed their love and affection for Donald Trump and the state of Israel. I have yet to encounter at any of these protests someone who was both critical of the Iranian government, desirous of seeing its overthrow, but at the same time opposed to the bombing of Iran by these crazed lunatics. I'll allow you to draw whatever conclusions you think are appropriate about the ideological orientation, the motivation of these people from the Iranian diaspora who are celebrating as their country is being destroyed. Now, that brings me to Condoleezza Rice. Before I get into her commentary, I just want to remind you to like and share the video if you find it to be informative. And if you're not already a subscriber, please become one and help us to expand the reach of our unapologetic resistance journalism. So let's get into it. In a recent interview with Fox News, Rice was asked about the historical origins of the war that we are witnessing today. And here's what she had to say.
Having me, but the most important thing is to recognize that Iran has been at war with us for at least 47 years, all the way from 1979. People may forget. They took our embassy hostage 444 days. They were responsible for the killings of 300 plus Lebanon in the early 1980s. And if you ask people about Iraq, what was the source of many of our casualties in Iraq, you'll get estimates as high as 75 or 80% of them were due to Iranian-made roadside bombs. And so they've been at war for us a long time. They also have developed the military capability to have reach outside of the boundaries of Iran, including Hezbollah and Hamas, which they both arm and equip and continue to arm and equip even after the events of the summer. And I myself negotiated 4 Security Council resolutions calling them a threat to international peace and security under Chapter 7. The strongest chapter of the UN Security Council resolutions because of their nuclear ambitions. So to say that this regime was not a threat, I think is simply not, it's ahistorical. They have been a threat for a long time.
I find the supreme irony of this lunacy that just spewed out of Condoleezza Rice's mouth to be that she employed the term ahistorical, because her account, if you can call it that, of the tensions between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the United States was from the perspective of history and from the perspective of an honest accounting of how we got here, extraordinarily misleading and outright dishonest in many fundamental respects. She started her so-called history of these tensions in the year 1979 when the Islamic Revolution happened. And at that point, there had been a great deal of difficult interactions between the state of Iran and the United States, which led precisely to that revolution. She could, for example, have started her historical account of this crisis or this conflict by talking about the overthrow of a democratically elected Iranian president, Mohammad Mossadegh, in the 1950s by the British and American intelligence agencies, the CIA and MI6, a crime to which they subsequently admitted. And the purpose of the orchestration of a coup removing Mossadegh from power was that he wanted to nationalize the Anglo-American oil company for the benefit of the Iranian people so that they could truly yield the benefits of their vast natural resources, principally oil. And that led to the installation of the Shah, who for decades proceeded to brutally oppress, torture, murder through his notorious intelligence agency, the Savak, the Iranians for whom the U.S. government now purports to be waging this war. And ultimately, the Iranian people, when they had enough, they removed his government from power with remarkably little bloodshed, I should add. And when they took Americans hostage at the U.S. Embassy, they did so because the U.S. Embassy was deeply complicit in the torture and disappearance of numerous political dissidents in Iran and the sustenance of the dictatorship, the pro-Western dictatorship under which they had suffered for so long. She also could have mentioned the fact that the U.S. soldiers who were killed in Lebanon by Hezbollah were there in order to intervene on the side of anti-resistance forces, and therefore something, by the way, which they had no right to do whatsoever. It was a brazen interference in the sovereign affairs of the country. And they, in fact, made the situation worse, and they were targeted legitimately because they effectively became antagonists in this civil war, this brutal civil war. And furthermore, she didn't mention the fact that Israel in, I think it was 2024, which led to the current series of exchanges of fire between Israel and Iran, destroyed the Iranian embassy in Damascus without any provocation. This was a severe crime under international law. She didn't mention that the Trump administration killed Iran's top general, Qasem Soleimani, at the end of his first administration, and did so after enticing Soleimani to come to Baghdad, where he was assassinated with promises of good faith negotiations over peace. She didn't mention the murder of Iranian nuclear scientists, the cyber warfare that was waged against Iran, the crushing sanctions that have done so much damage to the Iranian economy, to the detriment of the most vulnerable members of Iranian society. I could go on and on, folks. This person, moreover, should not be given a platform on any media outlet whatsoever. It is a travesty that she is not rotting in a jail cell at The Hague. And in fact, there is so much blood on her hands, the blood of innocence, that it would be entirely appropriate, in my view, for her to have suffered the same fate as the Nazi war criminals at the Nuremberg trials, which is to say that after a trial, characterized by due process and a conviction for crimes against humanity, she should have been dealt with by way of capital punishment. And I don't say that lightly. I was opposed to capital punishment all my life up until this genocide in Gaza, which has not stopped for one moment. But that has finally persuaded me that in extreme cases involving crimes against humanity, at a minimum, and particularly when you're dealing with people like Condoleezza Rice, who are obviously unrepentant and irredeemable, the world would be a better place without them. Again, let me be clear that I'm saying only in the event of a trial with due process and a conviction by a court of law finding the accused guilty of crimes against humanity. Now, Ms. Rice went on to talk about the true objective of this war. And this is the part that I think is most important from this exchange. And by way of background, I've been saying as often and as loudly as I can in recent weeks that in the corporate media and in the alternative media, there seems to be a good bit of confusion about what the true purpose of this war actually is. And the prevailing sentiment in the discourse around the objectives of Netanyahu and Trump in this war seems to fall into one of two schools. There's one school of thought that there is no ultimate purpose, that these two crazed lunatics, Netanyahu and Trump, don't really know what they're seeking to achieve. And that's why their narrative about the purpose of this war is constantly shifting. Sometimes it's about the fictional nuclear weapons program of the Islamic Republic. Sometimes it's about human rights. Sometimes it's about the ballistic missile program of Iran. And the reason why they can't stick to one single narrative to explain what they're doing is because they don't really have a clear identifiable objective. So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is that they do have a clear identifiable objective, which they're rather reluctant to state openly, at least some of the time, and that is regime change. They want to replace the current government of Iran, which has, whatever you may think of it, consistently demanded that it be independent of Washington. I think that's absolutely crystal clear. And they want to replace that government with somebody like the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, who has spent his entire life living outside of the United States, outside of Iran, in the West, and like a pig in mud, living off the fruits stolen from the Iranian people by his criminal father, the Shah. So they're saying, this school of thought, the people who ascribe to it, it's all about regime change. Now, my view is that it isn't about either of those things. And that, in fact, Netanyahu and Trump do have a clear objective, which they don't want to spell out because this already deeply unpopular war would become even more unpopular amongst the American people and other Western electorates. But before I tell you what I believe to be the true objective of this war, let's hear from the war criminal Condoleezza Rice.
But I think if the goal of the administration is to render Iran incapable of using its military forces outside of its borders, of threatening our neighbors, our allies, of threatening our bases abroad, which we're seeing they are capable of doing. If it is trying to deny them a conventional umbrella for their nuclear ambitions, that is a worthy goal. Now, what comes after? People are, of course, concerned about that. But if you can render Iran essentially incapable of military action against us and against our allies, that's worthy. And I think what they're trying to do is to neuter Iran as a military power in the region.
The key word is neuter Iran. Also very important language. Render Iran essentially incapable of taking military action against the U.S. hegemon and its rabid Israeli attack dog. Now, let's talk about that. What does that actually entail? Neutering a state and rendering it incapable of defending itself from aggression. It entails a great deal more than simply, for example, destroying its ballistic missile arsenal or bringing to an end by means of force or economic sanctions or both its capacity to enrich uranium. Because those things, once the technological know-how for the production of, let's say, ballistic missiles or the enrichment of uranium and the development of a nuclear weapon exists, those things, once destroyed, can be replaced if you have the industrial base to do so and the economic means to do so. So it will not be sufficient from the perspective of these war criminals to simply destroy the existing ballistic missile stocks and enrichment capacity of the Islamic Republic, because and then install a puppet, because as we saw all too clearly in 1979, the puppet could one day be overthrown again by the Iranian people. And if the state of Iran then possesses, when it comes under the control of persons who are antagonistic to Western hegemony, they could rebuild the capacity to strike, to retaliate against U.S. forces and Israel for its aggression by means of ballistic missiles. And they could also rebuild their centrifuges and the necessary facilities to relaunch the enrichment of uranium. The way you actually bring to an end a state's ability to defend itself is to destroy its industrial capacity, to impoverish the state, to create a condition of perpetual instability and deep-seated divisions within the state, and possibly to break up the state altogether and render it effectively a collection of little statelets which are to varying degrees hostile to each other and are easier to control. And you also will, if you want to render that state incapable of striking back at you, you're also going to want to impose sanctions on the country. You're going to want to occupy key parts of the country, and you're going to want to make that occupation permanent. In other words, my friends, the true objective of this war is to destroy the state of Iran. Okay, the installation of a puppet like Reza Pahlavi is a proximate objective, but would never actually achieve the stated goal, or the goal just identified by Condoleezza Rice, of preventing Iran from ever having the capacity to defend itself from attack. So my message, in case any of them happens to be listening to those lunatic members of the Iranian diaspora who are holding up photographs of Trump, expressing their avid devotion to Trump, praising Israel, waving the flag of Israel, and calling for the installation of Reza Pahlavi to replace the Islamic Republic. My message to them is the only thing currently standing in the way of the destruction of Iran by these psychotic criminals is the Islamic Republic of Iran and the military under its command. If you remove them from power, then there will be no more Iran, at least not one that is capable of defending itself, not one that is truly sovereign. This is a project designed to turn Iran into Syria, into Libya, into Afghanistan, a country that is perpetually unstable, impoverished, and completely and utterly vulnerable to exploitation and domination. Now, you may not like the fact, these people or others may not like the fact that the Islamic Republic of Iran is the only thing standing in the way currently of Iran's destruction, but that's just reality, folks. And if you want to really preserve the country that these people purport to love, then in the current circumstances, they should be demanding that the United States and Israel halt their aggression against the country and be held accountable for their aggression against the country. And so because they are in fact supporting those who are trying to destroy the Islamic Republic of Iran, these people are not patriots. And ultimately, I refuse to believe that they have the best interests of the country they claim to love at heart. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe they're just brainwashed. Maybe they come from the Iranian elite, and they want to go back one day and oppress their own fellow citizens in an extraordinarily unequal society. Maybe they're just psychopaths like Trump and Netanyahu. I'll leave it to others to figure out exactly what is motivating these people. But one thing is for damn sure, they are not patriots of the state of Iran. This is Dimitri Lascaris coming to you from Toronto, Canada on March 7th, 2026.